Hello, hello, hello. Namaste, my witchlings. Apparently my glasses cake. Glasses cake. Apparently my glasses case is kicking my ass. Oh, okay. I'm in a good mood. It is Friday. How is it already Friday, my friends? Oh man, there. I see we have an Amy and we have a John. I wonder who else is here. Because my darling, my loves, my friends, I added the sign up link. Sign up for the newsletter link in the link tree. Wow. It's a Mikey. It's a rogue Mikey in the wild. But please, 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 if you are not already subscribed to the mailing list, please go sign up. Because I'm going to be, I'm going to be announcing some stuff with the mailing list here shortly. I'm so excited about it. We don't talk about Bruno, no. That is what comes to mind every time somebody says we don't talk about in my head. Frog if I know. No. Oops. I patted my desk. And I'm kind of bouncing and I smacked my desk, which rattles the cameras, and it makes it look funny. You're a sorcerer. Ignore the knife. Yes. Let's see. I have so much stuff. I'm a figment of your imagination. No, the knife is a figment of your imagination. There we go. That's what we're saying. I swear I am beyond freaking hyper. The artwork. Oof. Yeah, that's typical of vampires. They need you to come back and check the levels again. I have said many times I'm a spoonie. Yes. But I am a spoonie, meaning I am a chronic illness warrior. I have multiple different things going on with me. The man behind the curtain is also a spoonie. He has had thyroid problems for years. And of course the long COVID that has him in the state he is now. And I have been on Depakote for what they thought was bipolar. Was great because I didn't have a migraine during that time, although I did kind of balloon. Isn't it great, Brian? And when you're on Depakote, you have to have blood work done every 4 to 6 weeks. So yeah, I'm used to that one. His thyroid issues, he has to have blood work done fairly regularly, and I need to schedule that later today. Sorry. Whoops. Man behind the curtain, goober. I.e. dad. Oh, dear goddess. The problem is I know a few doctors who would do that. And apparently my child is not completely awake. Which, if he kept his cousin up until 3 o'clock in the morning. Oh, noes! Yep, and you have to be at work in an hour and a half. No, just under 2 hours. 4 a.m. Oh my god. You mean I actually made it to sleep before you guys did? Oh! I've made mistakes. I love my family so much. You guys are great. I'm going to show that one. Dorkfish. Dude, you sound like the stupid French cat, Miette. Ugh! How dare! Oh, my lord and lady, I've got crazy people in my family, and I love it because they make me look normal. Okay. Nope, I didn't just do that. So, I'm surrounded by crazy people, and it makes me look sane. It's amazing. So, what was I just going to say? Okay. All right. Mailing list. Please, please, please sign up for the mailing list because I have some. Whoa, hello. There's a cat there. I have some really, really, really awesome things that I'm going to be announcing via the mailing list while we are not doing the daily streams. Where did you go? There you are. Let's see what else. Hello, grandmother. So here's something interesting. I've told you guys about the pictures above my monitor. I will glance up because I tend to look up and left when I'm concentrating. I have my grandmother right where I normally look, and that really was not a deliberate thing, but it ended up being a very good thing because every time I look at her, I'm reminded of how much confidence she and my grandfather had in me. It's great. Yes, Amy, you should sign up for the mailing list. If you don't, I will sign you up myself. It's a hazard of me having your email address, but I don't generally do that. No, that's my cousin, so. Thank you, John. Okay, I'll do it then. I gotta work on the mailing list tonight, so I got a bunch of stuff I'm doing after stream before I go to yoga, which I don't even know if I have anybody doing yoga today. But you know what? Life goes on. I am so freaking excited to do this stuff. I actually think I'm going to, Mike. That's a good idea. Where is my grandfather? My grandfather passed away year 27, so 27 years ago in March. He now resides in a little brick hole in a memorial garden wall. Yep, it was 99. Oh, dear goddess. That totally sounds like something I would do, John. John decided to tell his family and friends that Whiskey Tango Foxtrot stands for, well, that's fantastic. Oh, no, the person I was saying is 27 is Mikado because I knew he was here and I had just read something he wrote. And I'm like, so you're 27 and you were 6 months old when Grandpa died, so... Fuck my life. Sorry! Thank you. On the third day, he did not rise again. No. I'm sorry. I am trying very hard to keep some of this stuff, off here, but... Yes, I do, but I have said numerous times I should never have had the security clearance I did because I can't keep a secret. Because half the time I forget that it's something I'm not supposed to tell people. Loose lips sink ships. Yep. I have no idea. That's a good question. That one got auto-hid. What about loose lips and all but... Okay, I gotta turn this back on. I guess. It must be the word lips. I don't know. Hoi. Would saying lick your lips, Kit? Sorry. You're probably right. And that is also, yeah. My tattoo itches today. I'm just itchy. I did not enjoy working in hell either. So, slightly political here, only because the victim is political. So, there are people on the interwebs who are saying that everybody who was quoting Charlie Kirk's statement of, well, back at himself, his statement of, well, a few gun related blah, 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 incidents, shall we say, are worth it to maintain the Second Amendment. So there are people out there who are saying that everybody who is quoting that about him right now deserves to be doxxed and their employers contacted and, told that they're horrible people who should not be blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, they should be hunted down and have any weapons that they own removed and blah, 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 firearms removed. And there have been 4 separate comments on one post I saw her like, I would love to see someone try to contact my employer to get me fired, considering I am my employer. So, yeah. Yes. I saw. It's okay. So, but yeah, I'm just, the people who are like, yeah, go ahead, contact my HR. There was one who's like, go ahead and contact my manager. He and I are currently hiding out in his office watching videos and laughing at memes about it. So, I really don't think it's going to do any damage to my reputation here. But yes, and apparently the kid who did this, the fascist Cheeto in chief is doing everything he can to get this story out of the news. Hey, Mimi, because the kid who did it was a supporter. Yup, white kid on scholarship whose parents belong to the club, and he himself, there is video evidence or picture evidence of him going out for Halloween dressed as though he was riding on the fascist Cheeto's shoulders. Yep. And it's kind of amusing to me that he's all hell-bent on retribution and revenge. Well, okay, yes, revenge. Every time something like this happens, until he finds out it's one of his own, then he just wants to sweep it under the carpet and pretend it didn't happen. Sweep it under the rug. Oh my gosh, though. People are just... I have no words for some of this shit. But the fact that people are saying that just because some of us are, bringing his own quote, his own words up now, and people are going absolutely batshit over it, just show just how hypocritical they are. It shows the hypocrisy here. Because, well, it's all fine and good to lose some kids to gun violence, but when it's an adult, oh no! I mean, I grew up with fire drills, maybe earthquake drills, but mostly just fire drills. Today, kids have to go through fire drills, earthquake drills, active shooter drills. I mean, how the fluff do they have enough time to actually learn something in school? Exactly, Mike. Exactly. And it's frustrating. And another content creator that I follow, she goes by the name Diary of a Mom. She has an autistic daughter. And she posted something yesterday, I think. And the post was basically that she has a hard time accepting the fact that special needs kids that special needs kids are left out of those drills. They are taken out of the room because the noise is, causes distress for them of the alarms. And so, therefore, they now associate that noise with being taken out of the room. This is me saying that. But more importantly, they are removed rather than accommodated for during this. And so when something happens that is not a drill, they are clueless how to act and what to do. And oftentimes there is no plan in place to either get them out during a fire or to help them shelter in place when needed. And it is so frustrating. I agree with you, Mimi. His wife and kids should not have been subjected to that. Because it's not right. Do what? Yeah, we weren't going to talk about Charlie Kirk. I'm more talking about, sorry. I am more on the topic of the fact that as the mom of special needs kids, yes, mine are generally able to take care of themselves and follow along. But do you know how terrifying it is for a parent of a special needs child when they realize that these drills are going on, but your child is not participating in them? And because of that, when something happens that's not a drill, your child is going to be at risk. There was a woman in the comments who said that her child uses a wheelchair periodically because they will just randomly become paralyzed. It's part of their neurological issues. And the room that they shelter in place in is on the 3rd floor. So there's no wheelchair up there. And there's no way to get the child up the stairs if they need that wheelchair at the time. And so what are they going to do with their child? And yep, exactly, Andrea. That's what they frequently do. And it's so frustrating. And I mean, yeah, I understand not wanting to cause them the distress and ruin the rest of the day, because yes, that could happen, probably would happen, but they still need that training. I mean, there's another story that goes around every now and again of a teacher who was in a wheelchair, and she commented once that to her class that if anything happens, you guys get out and leave me behind. Yeah, tornado and fire drills are big back there. But her kids are like, no, we've already decided. That 3 of the boys were going to grab her chair. Tornado drills have to be terrifying. I'm just saying. And I thankfully did not live in the Midwest with my family, so I have never had to deal with tornado drills, although we've had tornadoes here in Washington in the last few years. We actually had one touch down and destroy like 4 or 5 houses. But it's just... How? Just how can a school conscientiously just leave their special needs kids out to dry in something like that? I mean, especially the little ones, like kindergartners, who really have no idea. It's one of those things that frustrates me. And I just... You did! You did. I remember you talking about that. Nobody ever asked. You just... started doing it. Because it was one of those, well, it needed to be done anyway. But, you know, that's me raising my kids to be compassionate human beings. And that's the other thing. Since when did compassion and empathy become such a bad thing? I mean, the victim of this week's violence, the victim of this week's violence definitely did, you know, promote violence. Hold. Can I finish what I started to say? He himself said that empathy was a bad thing. It was a sin. And also the muskrat commented that empathy was a bad thing. And I don't understand how being empathetic was a bad thing, especially when, you know, those of us who grew up in the 90s, were teenagers and shit in the 90s, we got the what would Jesus do shit crammed down our throats, whether we were Christian or not. And I just... And now that we're adults and we took that particular lesson to heart, what would Jesus do in this situation? We're being told we're the bad ones, that we're in the wrong, and I just... Please help me. Thank you. Yes. She popped in late. You're right, Mike. I love the fact that Andrea's been here for a bit and the man behind the curtain's like, oh, it's an Andrea. When did she get here? Yeah, we don't have... Well, yeah, guidelines. I will admit there are certain things that we generally try not to talk about in here. But... I am... Hey. Brian is saying the drilling for special needs may simply be training those who are responsible for the kids. Those kids still need some training in what to do and who to go to or look for when those situations occur. Especially when you have something like a nonverbal child, whether they be autistic or something else, they still need to know who their helper is. And some of them, in times of stress, are going to panic and freak the fluff out. And if you have one that's an elopement risk, you are SOL at that point. That is true too. Mike is saying that a lot of us resent our disabilities. I hate some of mine with a pink and purple polka dotted passion. Especially my asthma, because of all things to suck at. Sucking at being able to breathe is probably one of the worst. I can live with the chronic pain. Mm-hmm. Yep, it does. And you would know. I'm trying to figure out how to say something here without saying too much, but we have actually dealt with some of that. The constantly being coddled, well, he doesn't know any better. He is teachable. Oh, but he's blah, blah, blah. See, Brian, I have not lived through tornadoes again, but earthquakes, yeah. Because at least with an earthquake, you kind of know what's going to happen. A tornado is rather unpredictable because it can land and then bounce and go over there and come, or, you know, keep going in a straight line and just decimate an entire fucking city. Yeah. Yes. Oh no, I know what he's referring to. Yes, Mimi, I hear you, and I know exactly what you are saying. We have dealt with that as well. The man behind the curtain. The man behind the curtain has been well indoctrinated into the capitalist way of thinking that, okay, this is when he was first diagnosed. That if you can't work and you are forced to rely on government assistance, then you are, you know, you don't deserve anything. You're a leech. You're a drain on the system, etc., etc. And yes, those of us who have disabilities, I have encountered this myself, being just looked down on, infantilized. Oh my God, the number of times when I've needed my wheelchair or something because I'm not terribly mobile, the way people will just talk baby talk at you, and it's just. That screen name is evil. Anyway, we get in wheelchair users. Here's another example. I cannot count the number of wheelchair users that I know of or have heard of being furious over the fact that they will be, in their chair sitting somewhere. Someone will think they're in the way. So what do? They just walk up and shove the wheelchair out of the way. Not even thinking about the fact that there is a person sitting in that chair who might, I don't know, not want to be moved, or people who are in a wheelchair and are moving themselves, and people will just walk up and grab the handles of their chair and push them. And it's like, will you ask first, see if I actually need help? But no. And it's so common. And God's help the children who have disabilities. Because, and this was one that used to infuriate me. The parents at Special Olympics. I had an older brother who was a Special Olympics athlete. And their kid would just be being a total hellion. And they're like, well, he's retarded. He doesn't know any better. Bitch, he can be taught. Well, how do you know that? As I point to my own brother who is, fairly well behaved. Exactly, Mike. You know. You grew up with that. You know that frustration. You've heard it. So, yeah. But these people who are like, well, my child has special needs. I'm Yep. Mimi, kids are horrible to each other. Kids are vicious. And I don't get it. And the parents who just make excuses for them when they could easily learn how to behave. I mean, that there used to be levels of special needs, trainable, educable, and other. Now where are you that you're bitching at me from? Oh, he's sitting in his chair. So I don't think those labels are still used, but still, most kids can still understand that consequences or actions have consequences. But when the parents don't enforce any kind of consequences, puddle pirates. But yeah, I just, and then, yeah, it's just so frustrating. Technically, Missy, I am one of those special needs kids that was insanely intelligent. I am ADHD, and we have learned about 20 years ago that I'm on the spectrum. So, yeah. And something other people don't understand, and this is one I've always had fun pointing out. Special ed. Special ed is not just the kids who need remedial training and teaching and need more time to go over things. There is the other end of the special education spectrum that is the gifted kids. And I was that gifted kid. I was technically in special ed classes when I was in the advanced courses. And it's just, kids are horrible. Oh yeah, there are some who just don't outgrow being that horrible person, Mimi. And hey, playtime, we're doing okay here today. Yep, Mike. Pretty much. That's why your uncle's teachers would send work down from the high school for me while I was in elementary school. I still cannot believe someone tried to bar you from reading books that had female protagonists. That was insanity. All right. Yep, they do. Kids will mirror what their parents are teaching them at home. That's why 9 times out of 10, a school bully is one of two things. They are either the child of a bully or they are being bullied at home, or actually both. I understand that, Mimi, all too well. We'll talk later, kiddo. I'm not surprised you don't remember it. But yeah, somebody tried to say that you couldn't read The Wrinkle in Time, the Madeleine L'Engle books. Yeah, that was hilarious. Tornado drills are evil. Although lightning and thunder are amazing and kind of cool. Trying to remember if yes, this was Myrtle Creek. No. My family was able to watch a lightning bolt going horizontally rather than vertically twice in their lifetime. One of them I was alive for, the other one I was not. The first time they were in Cedar Rapids. And I believe there was a tornado warning going on in Shiz, and thunder and lightning, and this lightning bolt just went zipping down the road. Amazed my family. And then we were in the town I grew up in, another lightning storm, and this one I saw. There was a lightning bolt that basically followed the dotted line in the middle of the road. It was trippy. Tornado drills. Yes, everybody's either laughing their asses off or terrified. Pretty much. I hate the fact that these drills are necessary, but I appreciate that they're done. Because I was one of those kids that one of those drills happening during the day would just throw my entire day off. And I would be just discombobulated for the rest of the day. Now that we know I'm autistic, I swear to God, there it is. Now that we know that I have the tism, it all makes more sense. At the time, though, no.
You get the tism,
I would just come
you
home
get the
all
tism,
grumpy
you
and
get the
grouchy
tism.
and
We all have the
in a
tism.
foul mood. Exactly. Mimi, I feel for you with the not having very many friends and wishing you could connect with others. Yes. Yes. Yep. Oh, you slept through it. Oh my God. I've told you all about the fact that there was a fire in the apartment next door. And a fire truck parked and backed up right outside my bedroom window, and I did not wake up. And my window was open at least yay far because it was warm. I have seen videos of things like that happening, John. It's kind of fun when there's massive rain and you just see the dumpsters floating down the road. I kept trying to call them Cybertrucks. Those things that Cybertrucks are compared to. Yes. I did not need that visual. Oh, Jiminy Christmas. Because now I'm envisioning He-Man in one of those, it's the banana hammock that has the straps that go up over the shoulders. Yes, those are trippy to watch and terrifying. Not lucid, by the way. But yeah, oh my god, it's just Earth magic trampoline right now. Oh god. Yeah, he had someone in his life who tried to say he couldn't read the Madeleine L'Engle books, Divergent, Hunger Games. Yeah, he read those 3 series pretty much back to back to back, and someone decided to say he was no longer allowed to read them because those books were for girls. Yeah, that didn't last very long. Hey, if I had to see it, somebody else did too. Yeah, the rainy season started about the 12th century. Yup. I have told y'all that. I know, and it pisses me off. Anyway, so I've told y'all about how Twilight was set in Forks, Washington, right? Stephanie Meyer, Googled where in the continental U.S. got the least amount of sun in a year. And it said Forks, Washington. So she decided to set her vampire novels in Forks, Washington. Thank you very much. Proves that it was written by Mormons. Well, it's nope. We're not going to reference the magic underwear. Oy. I honestly thought the magic underwear thing was fake until it hit the news recently about how the Mormon church had redesigned some of their undergarments, particularly for women. They now have basically tank top versions, so they can be worn under sleeveless dresses and shit. But those are only available to people outside the United States. So a fuck ton of Mormon women were talking to friends and relatives who are outside CONUS and having them order them and ship them. And yeah, they apparently went over extremely well. Because, you know, prior to, they apparently had like cap sleeves and you couldn't wear them under anything slightly sleeveless. Yep. That's why when someone gets their drawers yanked down, it's called pantsing them, because they're showing off their pants. I did actually know that one. Nope, you couldn't. Thank you, Brian. You are so correct. Oh yeah. Oh my god. There is picture of an elderly gentleman being cuffed and stuffed Wednesday in Utah. We're not going to explain any further. But his pants are literally around his ankles, and you could see the knee-length white boxers. And people are in the comments saying, A, everybody knows he did do it. B, those look like Mormon undergarments. And C, can you imagine how humiliating that is for him? Not only for him to be being accused of this thing that he did not do, but showing his skivvies to anybody and everybody when, you know, they're not supposed to see any of that shit. Oh, that poor man. I feel so horrible. Well, see, the thing there, Andrea, is these are their Mormon demanded undergarments. And I guess they like wear skivvies under them or something. I don't know, but yeah. Yes, it is. Yup. And it's so horrible. And that I will once again say that my main issues with the religions that I will trash talk, Scientology, Mormonism, Jehovah's Witnesses, is the fact that, oh, and the Roman Catholics, is the fact that they try to dictate aspects of your life that have almost nothing to do with church. That is true, Andrew. We did that. I was in Oregon. Fun fact, my darling husband was born the day before. Sorry. But I was down in Southern Oregon when it happened. And I have no memory of it despite being 2 years old. But yeah, it was ugly. It's a kitty, kitty, cat, cat. Sorry. All right. Exactly. John, chances are they were, they're going to try and quote the Bible at you. Shit, oh, no. And we won't even talk natural disasters, because that's insanity, too. That's where the honor amongst thieves comes in. Oh, yeah. The number of celebrities that are Scientologists is unreal, but they deliberately went and recruited celebrities. I will tell you later, Andrea. Yup. But yeah, so the Scientology went out and recruited celebrities to be the face of their religion, such as Tom Cruise, because it gives them an air of legitimacy. And then you get people who were not in the, rich and famous upper echelons of the organization. I will not call it a church. Who are out there saying, yeah, that person gets away with a whole lot of shit that I didn't. Well, certain words do not leave the vocabulary after you get out of the military. No, actually, yes, it is. Actually, the reason they go door to door and proselytize, let me take a sip. The witnesses, the Mormons, the churches that go proselytizing door to door knocking. It's a twofold reason. Yes, it is a recruiting practice, but they know damn good and well that there is a 99% chance that when their missionaries knock on a door, they're going to get that door slammed in their face if anybody even opens the door. And therefore, it is a reinforcement of the outsiders are never going to accept you. The outsiders are never going to understand you. The only place you're safe is here with us in the church. So you need to shun the non-believers. You need to need to cut off the people who are not in the church because they are not going to treat you well. They are not going to be nice to you. They are going to ignore you. They're going to laugh in your face. They're going to tell you horrible things. And so you're only safe here. Yes, Raven, I have seen that one. And yes, our Mormon missionaries, I usually say mission Mormonaries. That's how my brain works. But our particular Mormons that were coming to visit us regularly, we invited them to step into the backyard and into the circle. But it's nice. And then the witnesses, Jehovah's Witnesses, when they found out who I was in relation to my youngest, they decided to leave rather quickly. And I have also gotten them to leave even faster by telling them, yeah, sure, I'll come to church with you if you'll step out of the ritual circle with me for a ritual. Nope. They didn't like that. They haven't been back either. Kind of miss the missionaries that used to come over. They helped us clean the garage out a couple of times. They were pretty cool. And, that's true as well. And I think that's the whole entire point of it is Mormons do their year abroad as soon as they turn like 18 and graduate high school, that's when they're encouraged to go out and do it, between 18 and I want to say 25, if my memory is correct. See, Mike, that's where the church sucks, but the people don't necessarily. Having come from the town I did down in Oregon, we had a huge Mormon population. Fun fact, the guy who plays Napoleon Dynamite is a Mormon from Salem, Oregon. We have like 30 mutual friends. But the Mormons themselves are pretty decent people. It's just their church. Oh, I have no idea. And I have a very dear friend who is a former witness, and he straight up says I grew up in a cult. My thing about the witnesses, it's not what they're witnessing or anything. It's their refusal to get medical treatment for certain things. They are not allowed to do blood transfusions. So that's true. That's kind of cool. I didn't know it was BYU, Idaho. He did. Oh. I was watching something or reading something about L. Ron Hubbard and how he ended up in Florida. I need to find that again because it was really fascinating. Basically, he was helping someone create something scientific and shit. They were doing really good research and creating something. And then there was a falling out between them because they were in a polyamorous relationship with the same woman. And he and L. Ron Hubbard and the woman ditched the original guy with the idea for whatever they were working on and fucked off to Florida. So L. Ron Hubbard's first wife was the product of an affair. Their relationship was an affair, and yeah. That's kind of cool, Amy. And they put the warning labels in their recruitment ads. I need to see that one. Yup. That's kind of cool, Amy. Yep, Joseph Smith was not a good person either. Joseph Smith was the entire reason that the Mormon church was into polygamy, because he didn't want to keep it in his pants, but he didn't want to be accused of adultery, because, you know, the Bible says adultery is bad. And yeah. And then I have to laugh because polyamory is becoming more and more common these days. And every time someone says something about it, it gets laughed at and said, duh, in this economy, you can't afford to live by yourself or with just one partner. The more people in a household who are contributing to that household, the better off they are. Exactly, Mike. Exactly. Even the freaking Amish will, you know, use modern medicine when necessary. And they don't like modern technology. But, hey. Yes, they do, Andrea. Can't remember. Amy, do you remember? Exactly. Yeah. Do you remember where in the Bible it refers to having many wives? I want to say Father Abraham had multiple wives, but there were 2 or 3 others that had multiple wives, and it was okay. But yeah. And you are absolutely correct that the Mormon version of polygamy is all about is polygamy, not polyandry. Polyandry is not okay. Polygamy is multiple wives. Polyandry is multiple husbands. Elaborate, Mike, because what you said could be taken a couple of different ways. But yeah, I don't like most of the freaking organized religions. The most of them are way too controlling. Christianity has a good idea with, love one another and do unto others as you would have done unto you, and serve the poor and help the needy. Excuse me. Scientology became a thing because L. Ron Hubbard decided to write a book of fiction and then turn it into a religious text, or use it as a religious text. Okay, that's what I thought you were going with, and yeah, you're not wrong, Mike. But L. Ron Hubbard was not a very good man. Yep. I mean, you're essentially talking about the type of like a triad where everybody is involved with everybody, but yes. It's interesting that the agnostic family members suck. But, there are shitty people in every belief system. So, hey. I like the fact that people say that, well, if you're not Christian, then how are you going to be a good moral person? How are you going to not, do awful things to people? And my response is, if you need the fear of a higher power punishing you, if you step out of line and you're not staying on the right path simply because, you think that's a good idea, then you're a really, really, really bad person. Because if the only thing preventing you from stabbing or whatever someone is because you are afraid of going to the dark place, the bad place, you got problems. Because the reason I'm not out there acting on every less than stellar impulse I have is not because I'm afraid of going to hell or I'm afraid of going to prison or anything. It's because I know that hurting another person is wrong. And that alone, that shows you my morals. I do these things because, I know it's not right, it's not kind, it's awful, but I don't do it because I'm afraid of punishment. And that goes, that's similar to my parenting style. I raised my kids to behave and to be good people because it was the right thing to do, not because they were afraid they were going to get their asses beat by me. I did not want to rule my children by fear. The people who need that fear of retribution or that fear of punishment to keep them from doing these horrible things really are the ones who need help because they are not capable of holding themselves back. Yes, that is true, Lamp Lady. Lamp Lady is saying that presidents are not required to place their hand on a Bible when taking the oath. They simply most choose to use a Bible. There was one who didn't use a Bible, and I do not remember what it was he chose. Although I am waiting for us to have a president who, when they're taking their oath of office, uses the big blue book. Yes, you did, John. I'm so happy about you. And yes, multiple partners is great, but it is very complicated. It requires a fuck ton of communication, a fuck ton of scheduling, and basically you might as well just have everybody share one community calendar, because that's the easiest way to keep schedules straight. The Big Blue Book. It was written by Bill W., and it is the AA Bible. So I am waiting for somebody to use the AA Bible as their Bible to be sworn into office. That would be awesome. Because as soon as people saw that book, all hell would break loose. Because AA is a cult. check out Knitting Cult Lady's videos about that one. I am totally not surprised that John Quincy Adams used a book of law. Yep. And thought it was Catholic Missal. That's interesting. No. Not Automobile Association. I'm talking Alcoholics Anonymous. That would be awesome. I saw that. There's a reason that the husband's race car is called the Home Wrecker. There she is. That would be awesome, Mike. Yep, he did not touch it. That was his car, by the way, y'all. Or I said was because the picture went away. That would be awesome if somebody had like a family grimoire. Such as, I hate this reference, but it's a good visual. The Charmed Ones grimoire. Yeah. Or Book of Shadows. Theirs was a Book of Shadows. Something I find amusing. I'll address that in a second, Brian, but something I find amusing and interesting is looking through the different denominations that the presidents have been. There have been a fuck ton of them that were Episcopalian. And I did not realize that until about 6 months to a year ago, within the last year. Now, as to what Brian said, good job, Melissa. Mimi. Okay, now, as far as what Brian said about there are a few good men, most extremely successful men, CEOs, presidents, rich and famous type shit, a lot of them are narcissists because that's the way that they are able, that's why they have the personality they do to be that successful. I am not being able to explain myself very seriously, but that's what it is. All right. What? Eh. But yeah, that was an interesting thing to learn. What are you Whiskey Tango Foxtrotting, babe? I know. We'll deal. Alright. Okay. We try. Oops. Alright. Alright. Yep. We are clowns. Exactly. I agree that being held to high moral standards is being driven by moral relativism. But yeah, oh my gosh, just how? This is a question. That is true, Ola. This is a question that I want to pose to the knitting cult lady. How did we end up with our country being run by a cult leader? How did the United States turn into a cult? And I know she's discussing it in her videos. We will have a discussion in the staff chat, you guys. Thank you. Oh, hey babe, can you check in on Discord? Okay. See, I don't know too much about Starmer. I know that someone was talking about him last night. I can't remember who now. I think it was the Daily Show. But yeah. Rawr. It's just been a day. Alright. I was just going to say something else and now I can't remember what the fluff it was. Thanks, John. I don't disagree with you, Mike. It's not that Wall Street needs to burn, though, but we desperately, desperately need to revamp a lot of things. Yep. Oh shit, I want that detail real quick. The term... Okay. So here's an interesting tidbit. The term lobbying comes from the physical practice of people gathering in the public lobbies or hallways of legislative buildings in Britain and the U.S. to meet and speak with lawmakers. While often attributed to President Ulysses S. Grant in Washington, D.C., the term was used in the U.S. as early as 1808, and its roots trace back to British Parliament's lobbies in the 1640s. Lobbies were used as meeting places, and that dates back in Britain to the 1640s. These spaces were open to the public and served as a place for constituents to interact with their elected representatives. The practice and term were adopted in the U.S. in the early 19th century, initially in state legislatures like Pennsylvania and New York. The Speaker's Lobby outside the House of Representatives chamber in the U.S. Capitol became a popular place for people to encounter members of Congress. So yeah. Yep, Abraham Lincoln was kind of Quaker leaning. Yep. Actually, yeah, and then Grant... Ulysses S. Grant coined the term lobbyist at the Willard Hotel in D.C. to describe people trying to influence him in the lobby. So that is where lobbying comes from. Yes. Michael is absolutely correct that if it's a big enough bribe, not only is it not illegal anymore, it is now, That is awesome, Andrea. Yes. See, Kelsey is referring to insider trading, and that is one of the times where I fully agree with some of the politicians in D.C. right now, saying that insider trading, the sitting congresspeople should not be allowed to trade stocks. See, I have been upper lower class to absolutely lower middle class most of my life. And yeah. Yep, Congress is part of the benefits, the insider trading. Yep, their families, I agree, should not be allowed to. If anybody in your immediate family, parent, child, cousin, sibling, that immediate family, you should not be able to play the stock market until such time as your relative is no longer in government. I believe that should be the way it is for state as well as federal government. Yes, Carter had to give up the family peanut farm to avoid the emoluments clauses, which somebody currently sitting did not. Yep, the government did just buy 10% of Intel recently, which absolutely horrifies me. And I just know I don't know how they can freaking get away with it. It's horrific. It truly is. And I don't like it. And he's trying to tell the schools what they can teach. He's trying to say what books we can and cannot read. He is fucking with our museums. And he just he we are currently being led by a cult leader by the name of Donald Trump. I will refer to Knitting Cult Lady's videos about that. She has a number of videos talking about how MAGA is a cult. And it's really, really freaking terrifying in all honesty. Because she's absolutely right. And before people start telling us that she doesn't know what she's talking about, she is a third-generation survivor of the Children of God cult. She was born into it. Her family were high-ranking members. She escaped at 15, graduated high school at 16, and proceeded to go to college. And after she graduated college, she went into the United States Army, which is yet another cult, and became an intelligence officer. And yeah, then after she finished her military service, not by choice, she went to a Harvard adjunct school and has a degree in cult studies because, well, she knows. Right? She acknowledges the oxymoronity of intelligence officer. And yes, I was going to say, they did not buy 10% of Intel stock. It was given to them, which is even more forking terrifying. Andrea, we are not going to say things like that because his people were saying horrible things about Biden, and we did not allow it. So if we do not allow one side to do it, we cannot allow either side to do it. I do not necessarily disagree, but... goes for John as well. Hey, Stitch! How are you doing this afternoon? And I just want to let everybody know we are probably going to wrap this up in about 5 more minutes. Because you're special. It's okay, Andrea. We understand why you say it. But it's not that we disagree with you. It's simply the fact that if we start saying that shit, we have to allow them to say the same shit about us. And that doesn't feel very good, does it? Yes. Look at the tail. Hi, baby. Oh, look at the happy boy. Hi, sweet boy. I know. Mama's wrapping up, okay? And then we'll go and go potty. Yeah? Are you a good boy? Hi, little man. Hi, big mans. What? I know he just shoved you out of the way to get his lovies. Dog. It was Sarge. I saw him in the hallway, and I had to say hi. What? Amen, Mike. Oof. Yeah, we're getting there. Trust me. As I was saying, that's what they want to do to us here. Exactly. And we've had people who actually wanted to do the job. It wasn't just a power grab, but for whatever reason, multiple reasons, they did not get elected. Yep. Exactly. That's part of why we avoid saying a lot of things in here that while the general consensus may be that these things are true, They're still slightly inflammatory. Yep. We're not going to discuss that one either, because it's just as much bullshit. Not to mention other things that have happened. Yep. None caused, John. You're good. It's just kind of amusing to see the similarities and the parallels between the countries. I really have a rant I want to go on. I may actually do this for Bitchin Witch, but yep. Where's Deer Valley? I need to look at the map, because now I'm curious. Doink. Doompa. Oompa. Loomp. Shut up, die. Deer Valley. Oops, that's an E-W. Yes, I can live without it for a little bit. There we go. Holy cheese. Okay, it is 6 hours away. Where the fluff? Diamond Lake. That sounds slightly familiar. Pocahontas Bay. Alright. That has got to be Colville. Okay. It is over by Spokane. Okay. Oh, yes, you do need to get ready for it. Go, 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 go. Okay, so I was looking at the town that Brian said he had worked in and where it was in relation to where I am. Definitely agree with that. Pizza Burger voting day definitely needs to be a mandatory paid holiday. Thank you, sweetheart. I love you so much. Oh, John, it's okay. Yes. Yeah, and I do actually, I am very worried about the fact that the fascist Cheeto wants to do away with mail-in ballots. Because I know so many people, me included, who, if I did not have the option of voting by mail, we wouldn't vote. Because I cannot handle going to a polling place the way I am today. It wouldn't work. Oh, no. Yeah. Yeah, I agree, honey. Because we're either going to be, we're not Christian, we're not straight. Yeah. And a fair number of us are spoonies. We're not. Yep. I haven't heard about that, John. I'll be doing some research. Because you're a cockroach. Thank you, Stitch. We appreciate that here. I am aware that there are a large number of Christians who do not feel that we should be put to death because of who we love. Damn it. I just smacked the mic again. Exactly. All right, my loves. It is almost 4 o'clock here. I have furry children in here reminding me that they need to go water the tree and that they want some FOOD. Yes, I see that the Pope is being kind of progressive. I'm cautiously optimistic, if that makes sense. So I don't know. Yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic. I hope that he is going to do good things with his position, but nope. Not at all, Brian. You're Methodist, right? That's the UMC United Methodist Church. Methodists are pretty good. That's true. He does. Nope. Nope. It just makes you Methodist. I have zero issue with the Methodists. Baptists are questionable sometimes, but we are eternally grateful to you as well, John. I'm so glad that you guys have found us. And it is time for me to wrap it up tonight and say I will see you all next season. And we will pop in now and again. This is why you need to make sure that you like, share, subscribe, and ring the bell so that you know when we're going to be live again. Oh, we're heading out. Because I'm going to get the puppers out to go potty and feeds them. And we are wrapping up. Yep. Okay, so staff, we will be gathering in the Discord staff chat here shortly. Let me get the dogs walked and fed. Yes. Awesome, John. Please do. We will see you soon, Stitch. Wait, what? Can't necessarily disagree there. All right. I am actually rather... go ahead and run the... Oh, yeah, hold on. Tookers, you gotta come up and say bye to everybody and say that you'll see him next season. Come here. Yip, yip. Look at the good boy. Hey, Regine. Yeah, you're a good baby. Oh, you're a good boy. Yeah, everybody loves you. Yeah. And we shall end with our recap of last year. Of the last year. Yeah, your friends are saying hi to you, baby. Yeah. He is German Shepherd Malamute. Yeah, look at that dopey face. You're the goofy boy. Are you my goofy boy? You are. Hi, baby. Yes, I know. Oh, I know. Oof. Holy cow, child. Are you leaving another dog behind when you leave because you've got that much fur you're shedding? Yeah. I love you. You're a good boy. What's you sniffing? What's you sniffing? Yeah. Oof. Oh, dear Lord. She's not wrong. She's not wrong. Yep, Colville. I miss my Yorkie. He was a good boy. Oh, did I just stick my wrist in your mouth? Ew. Ha ha ha. I love you guys to death. I will see you next season. Namaste, my witchlings. Namaste, witchlings. By the way, I am Di, the yoga witch. I am Di, your favorite yoga witch, living a magical life through yoga. Welcome to my channel, guys. I am Di, your favorite yoga witch, spreading kindness and love and living a magical life through yoga. I am also the founder and owner of Yoga with Dylin, where we do yoga with a witchy twist. You can find out more about that at yogawithdylin.com. I have a thing. Apparently, I yawn every time I see the screen go, hi, you're about to go live. Namaste, my witchlings. Welcome back to my channel. I am Di, your favorite yoga witch, spreading kindness and love and living a magical life through yoga. This video has made it to you for a reason. The universe has a reason for you seeing my smiling face. Don't scroll away. Oh, coffee hot. Let us, please, protect the energy of this space and be respectful in my chat. If you are not, you will be meeting Arnold with the Barnhammer.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Okay. Well, we have a birthday today, I think. Yes, we have a birthday. We are starting to acknowledge some unique holidays here just for the fun of it. Before we get into all of the fun, let's take a moment for something truly special. Yep. Hey, oh, hey. There we go. AWAS. Moving on to Oracle. Let's see what the tarot cards are telling us. Namaste says the power of breath. Self-compassion is saying progress, not perfection. Who's today's goddess? I'm having a day. It's Monday. Shall we move on to Zen? We are opening our circle with the extinguishing of our candle, and we extend our gratitude to the ancestors who joined us today. I bid you a fond farewell. Go out and spread love, joy, and kindness. Spread love, spread joy, spread kindness. Go out there and spread love, spread joy, and spread kindness. Let's get out there and spread love, spread joy, and spread kindness. There is so much hate and discontent out there right now. Why add to it? And please try to be a beacon of light for those who have lost their way. Try to be a beacon of light and hope for those who have lost their way. Also, make sure your loved ones, be they human, scaly, furry, or feathered, know that you love them beyond measure. And always, always, always remember, my friends, that you are loved, you are wanted, you are needed. You genuinely do have a purpose here, even if you haven't figured out what it is yet. Took me till I was in my 40s. Always, always, always remember, you are loved, you are wanted, you are needed, and you genuinely do have a purpose here, even if you haven't figured out exactly what it is yet. I was in my 40s before I did. I love you guys to bits. I'll see you in a while. Namaste, Witchlings. I love you all.